Hello. This is Steph, the educator, and this is the Essential Pedagogy podcast. And I'm here to just reintroduce myself because I know that sometimes we have new viewers. I want to talk to you guys about how this podcast came to be, and just tell you a little bit about myself, and also to give you tips about summertime and kids. Students. I call them students. You call them your children. But I haven't had young children in a little while. So, want to talk about that a little bit and how my life has changed with having adult kids. But anyhow, um, I want to tell you that I started this podcast to as a ministry. Really, I found that there were lots of parents who had their hearts in the right place, wanted to help their children, and had absolutely no idea what to do to help maximize their child's education in a public school setting. So, and things really um, hit the fan when COVID happened. And at that time, I took a hiatus from education, and I needed to decompress from some things that I was going through personally and professionally. And so I started tutoring full time. I always tutored, but tutored full time, and I had to become an advocate for a lot of children who were struggling, some who were dyslexic, special education, and there were art meetings, and parents had no idea what the education system was talking about, or the principals, the diagnostician, the possibly the psychologist, school psychologist. There were just lots of lingo that I really became a advocate for parents. I still get calls of people wanting to just hash through all of the lingo and all of just the vocabulary that professionals in the education realm, we just take for granted secondhand, that it's like we know this. Why don't everyone know what an art meeting is? Art meeting is a special education meeting that is a legal binding meeting that is made up of people who are have the educational interests of the child, the parents, the teachers, and the administrators of the school, to make educational goals and decisions for the best interest of the child and the school, and everybody involved. So anyhow, want to talk to you more about. I've been doing this for 20 years, so we have started our summer vacation, and it takes a little bit for uh, educators to decompress. We're always on. Um, we're always trying to be ready to meet someone's needs. So it takes a little bit to decompress when you're finally finished for that school year. And we don't decompress very easily. We're used to endless calls, emails, people contacting you, uh, students, uh, parents, other interested parties in the community, from the time before you walk into the door, if they have your phone number, email, or what have you, to the end of the day, and even afterwards, that you are tugged on about this problem, that problem, this need, that need. And so it takes a while for us to decompress. But today, your girl took a nap in the middle of the day. And it was very uncomfortable because I I felt like I should be doing something. I felt like, well, I should be doing something. Now I did my floors yesterday. I did some organizing. I still have some organizing to do, but I didn't feel like doing it. Okay. Um, and I turned on a little Netflix documentary, and these documentaries are uh, narrated by people who have Morgan Freeman voices and they are calm and soothing. So I found myself dozing off like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I never do this. And then I woke up and I was like, I should not be asleep. I should pay attention to this documentary. And I finally said, let me just go and get this blanket and this pillow, and I'm going to lay on my sofa and take a nice little nap. And I did. And it really helped me be refreshed. Hopefully, it'll help take some of these years off of me because I feel like I'm getting a little bit older in my bones. And I'm going to rebuke that and drink my water and get my rest every day. I want to talk about 5 H's. The 5 H's I want to talk about are heart, home, health, hours, and head. Um, when we talk about the heart, I want to tell you that being in education 20 years, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about societal issues, what the future might hold. Yes. What the future might hold. How can we improve our society? What should we be focusing on next for our community? Um, how can I get my mind right in order to be the best person I can be for my society, my community, the people who depend on me? So I always have to do a heart check about whether I am doing things out of a selfish motive or if I'm doing things out of a motive for the best interest of our future as a whole, as a people, as a community member. And I'm not just talking about African American people because I believe that I'm more than just an African American. Yes, I wear it on my skin, can't hide it, wouldn't want to. But as a people, um, I think about it every single day. I'm a Christian, and I hope I wear that badge well. It's not always perfect. And I do not want to paint a picture that Christianity is the way that it's reflected all the time is a reflection of perfection because it is not. And it cannot be because we are imperfect people and we have to. We definitely have to separate what our good works are and what our hearts bend is for the sake of Christianity and me as the sinner. Um, so we always have to check our hearts. I think it's very healthy. I think it's healthy to check our hearts when it comes to our children. We always been to, well, we know best, we're older, but to have a simple conversation at times or being just open to conversation with your young people in your lives can help with their thinking, can help with your thinking on how they might be and where their headspace is. You just don't know until you create that space where you can talk with them and find out where their heart is and constantly evaluate your heart. I want to talk about home. Now, home, it should be a very peaceful place, a place where um, there's solace, there's space to um, be challenged, and space to challenge. um, people that you love in a safe space, but also to get rest, like I was talking about. People often ask me, what is the secret? I don't have really a secret. Um, I People say that I look young, that I act young. I don't look like I have a son that is going to be 25 in October, but I do. And I don't really have an answer other than the fact that I have a life of prayer and that I pray every day. Um, I try to read at least a Bible verse a day. I don't always. I try. Um, and when I do pray, I listen to someone read it. I listen to someone read a Bible verse. Um, but I don't always take it in myself, and I need to be better about that. But I drink water. I don't, uh, I tend to stay away from sugar, especially in this menopausal time in my life. I try to eat as healthy as I can. I try to um, make it a point to have boundaries in my life and communicate the boundaries appropriately. I'm always trying to improve on that. I grew up in a very dysfunctional household, so I had, and I'm learning about how trauma can keep you from communicating your boundaries or having too rigid of a boundary, and you tend to, leave people out. But that leads me to health and to drink your water. I just had a very interesting conversation with a community leader. I just moved to Dallas, y'all. So I had been living in the suburb for 25 years, and for some reason, I have a lot of small reasons that I've been making public, but yeah, enforcing boundaries. Um, but I moved to Dallas, and Dallas proper, girl. I have a Dallas address, y'all. A Dallas address. I lived in Denton County for 25, 26 years, and I am in Dallas proper. I got a Dallas zip code. I, I hear sirens more than I used to. I see homeless people more than I used to. And I recently met with a community leader who was telling me about how trauma works. And of course, I felt like I would had minor expertise in this, but with someone who is in, the feet is on the street. Her whole life she's worked in um, nonprofits providing shelter, electricity, food for people her entire life, and listening to people's stories. When you've had years of trauma, and it's one thing after another thing after another thing after another thing, um, it is healthy for you to get a reprieve from that, a breather from that. And in fact, you don't relax from it for at least 18 months. It takes for you to kind of be like, okay, I can I can think clearly. And it made me think about how during the school year and otherwise I try to hydrate my body with water. Um, I'm working in a ministry in church right now where I'm getting information from people in an emergency state of mind. Um, they have lots of things going on in their head, and they're frantic. Usually, Dallas is a very transit city where people are coming because they hear about the great opportunities here, and sometimes they come here without a plan. Um, and That's not unusual when your whole life hasn't been a plan. So it's good to offer them water. I did not know that sometimes there can be clarity to be inherited from drinking water. A simple thing like having 8 ounces of water before you speak, before you communicate your feelings, can make a world of a difference in clarity of your mind. And also having a break from feeling unsafe, and you really don't have, your mind doesn't turn off or relax from a state of danger for at least 18 months out of an endangered trauma situation. It was very eye opening, very eye opening. People need time to heal. And that is where it takes me to hours. So, hours, you know, how are we spending our time? Um, are we spending our time mindlessly flipping through TikTok and YouTube and things like that? Or are we really like ingesting things? And I'm not saying that there's not great YouTube programs out there, YouTube channels. There's not great short clips of TikTok that can spark an idea for you to do more research. But certainly, we want to occupy our minds with um, more things that can enrich our spirit. And the problem I find with social media is that things will just come at you. I know that people have their identities on social media, and if you are someone who looks at porn, then you're going to get more porn. Or if you look at educational things, you're going to get more educational. But every now and then, they will throw something at you in social media, and you're like, where did this come from? I'm looking at finances and how to get my money right, and they putting in here about love or something, relationships. I don't even know who this person is speaking. I don't know how they're assuming authority to speak into my life. But I want you to know that you have control over what goes into your mind and spirit. And I want you to take more control over that. I want you to do that by you choosing carefully what to put into your mind and hearts. Um, that leads me to head, and that's taking captive of your thoughts. You know, we all have times where we um, have times where we're like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. I should have been better at this. I should have been more disciplined. I can't believe I did this. And it's basically like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of feeling. But you have to trust that the God that created you for good works. And that is all going to be for the glory of God and his good works. So when I tell you that you need to do these H's, I want you to bring them into your home. I want you to apply them to your children's life. And I want you to be very intentional, because what habits you have in your home that you bring into your daily lives with your children, they will materialize in school. I know we're all trying to get a break. I know that we're all trying to get some rest, and don't nobody want to read a book. But if you could just agree to one page a day, um, a page out of the book a day, that could be one of the hours of the things that you spend an hour doing is, hey, let's read this page. I'll read a page, you read a page, and let's talk about the characters in this book. let's pretend that they live in Dallas or wherever you're living in the United States. Let's pretend. And how do you think this person would dress, be in your school, or what have you? That can leave space for your child to be able to express themselves, and it'll make it easier for them to come talk to you if something goes down at school that could be troubling. I want you to know that when children, they often are in situations where nothing is in their control. So when nothing is in their control, that their boundaries are easily crossed because they don't see where they can say no, or they don't see where they can have the strength to say, well, I'm not going to go there with you. I'm not going. I know everybody's going over here to do this and to vandalize that or what have you, but I am not. And in order for them to be strong enough to say no to something that could be damaging to their reputation, to your household, to your last name, you have to give them the space to be able to express themselves so they can feel like they're being heard. I think it's very, very important. I have I've had to learn to do this differently, and it is different as your children get older. Um, when I ask questions, because I speak more assertively, because I'm the oldest child in my immediate family, I tend to speak more authoritatively. I'm not going to say I'm bossy. Um, I will say I speak authoritatively, and when I ask questions and I say certain statements, my sons used to say that I came from a space of criticism. And that's not where I was coming from. But I had to check how I was communicating with my students, my children, so that I don't ruin the moment of them really opening their hearts to me. So recently, my son moved to Oklahoma City to do a doctoral program in Oklahoma City. So he is officially, I mean, he really gone, y'all. He's moved out of state, and he gone. Anyway, I um helped him get settled in his apartment, and actually stayed the night over to his apartment. And I looked in his cupboards and I looked in his refrigerator, and he had already gone shopping. And I said, the next day I slept on it because I was like, I don't know how to approach this topic, but I want to know. And I want to know if he needs help from me. So I asked him, I said, son, he's like, yeah, mom. I was like, are you vegan? And he said, no, why you ask? And I said, because the only meat I see in this apartment is this meat sauce that you have, this spaghetti sauce. And you have noodles and things like that, but that's not really a lot of meat in that meat sauce. You know how that is. And he's like, Mom, I'm on a budget. I can't afford meat. And I was like, aw, son, I think I can buy you a couple packs of chicken and a little something. I can help you out. So let's go to the grocery store. But I say that because we always have to be mindful of our heart. We have to be mindful of what kind of home we have developed for our children, and environment we've developed for our children to communicate some of the crucial things. And that wasn't very crucial, but I know that if something was to come up important, I know budget's real. I know I'm proud of him. He's like, I'm on a budget, and I was like, well, your mom can help you, and And I did. Um, but we have to be mindful of this and we have to be nurturing. I feel like a little bit I was robbed at nurturing my own children because I spent many years nurturing other people's children. And when I got home, I was spent. Do you understand me? I was spent. uh, so I really took the summer times and this season in my life now that I'm just going to be the nurturer. I feel like I could have been a little bit more nurturing, and I want women, especially Black women, um, to be more mindful in nurturing your children and just um, be a nurturing spirit, not babying our children, but be nurturing. Um, and if a child wants to cry, let them cry. If a child wants to go off and be by themselves, let them be by themselves for a while and then check on them. But be as supportive and nurturing as you can. Don't let life take you away from your H's, your heart, your home, your health, your hours of doing study and taking in good things, your headspace. Don't let life take over that to where you can't show up in life for your children. That's the best advice I can give anybody that is actively raising small children, school age children, is do not let this world take you away from your core God given job. Not a job. That was a God given job to be a parent. We have to be more mindful more than ever because there's so much thrown at our children that was not thrown at us. Um, we have to really understand what our children are taking in, what's forming their mindsets, what's helping to develop the way they're thinking and their perspective on the world. We have to do that. We have to take charge of that so that their education won't lead them, but they will lead themselves through education. That's my hope for everybody is to take those 5 H's and to be the most nurturing you can be for your children so they can take charge of and let education help them take charge of whatever else in their life that life may throw at them, that they take control over that and life doesn't control them. It is my honor to help people process and work through some of these things, and I want to continue to do this. I feel like sitting on both sides as a parent and educator, I think the only thing that separated my household or other people's households that have very productive members of society is what they have done and invested at home. Not any good teacher cannot take the place of that. And so I want to equip you with some thoughts, with some sparking of the minds that may mobilize your feet because you're going to have to move your feet on these things and be very intentional. And I hope that you go forth and do that. More than anything, more than paying millions of dollars for tutoring. I think those habits are the habits that you need to start thinking about and internalizing for your students. And I hope that you guys have a safe summer, a great summer, a mindful summer. I hope that we all benefit from thinking more mindfully about our own communities, Homeless people are not invisible, they are out there. We all have a part in trying to help one another. We are our brother's keeper. And so this is the reason why I'm here. And until the day I die, I'm going to talk about and do the best I can in helping somebody else. And that is my time. um, I really would like to get some feedback from some of you guys. So if you can please like reach out and let me know what you think about the podcast, what you'd like to hear more about. If you need to get if I need to write down a vocabulary list of acronyms in schools, I will do that. But until next time, I will see you guys later on Essential Pedagogy.